Right, greetings everybody. Just going to try and explain the course a little bit more detail for you. Now the course actually starts down over here and has the 5k prologue section down to CP2. Then they set off on the first of the big mountain bike legs, which is 90 kilometres, zigzagging across the countryside and through forestry here. And they come down to here where the actual finish is, and this is actually a transition that's used about 4 times. So it's a bit of a jumble with the checkpoints and such things in here, but I'll just zoom in here and I'll try and explain this next section to you. And now you have to excuse me a little bit. I will be clicking in and out with my whiteboard marker so I can move the map. Now the second trek starts here and it comes across and goes up to about CP 12 or 13 I think, and it actually jumps up to CP 20 and it still comes up here. It's still the same trek leg, zigzags and comes back down to the finish line here again. So that's the first trek section there, and then I'll just zoom out again, and then they head off on the second of the big bike legs, and I'll just get my whiteboard marker happening again. And right, so the second bike leg leaves here, heads up once again through the forestry, zigzags through here. Looks like great countryside, so there should be some really nice riding up there through there for the teams. And this is sort of like the first third of the course really, and then they get into the second part of the course, which is quite technical and quite involved. So I think transitions will be very important here. And they come from this checkpoint here. I think this is called TA2, and they do the 35 kilometer paddle down the river. They then have a short trek. Then they have the first of the rollerblade sections, which I think this first one is just 13 kilometers long. They then set off on the 35 kilometer trek, I believe it is, and this is where there's a climbing section in here, which I would believe would probably be around here where these close checkpoints are, but I don't know for sure at this stage. And they carry on the 35 kilometer trek through this area here. Now this is where there's a checkpoint or transition area. Now it doesn't show on the map here, but there's a 2 kilometer canyoning section in here somewhere, and they transition here twice because they do the canyoning and then they set off and do the second rollerblade section, which is 20 kilometers long. So that'll be quite interesting. Any teams with extra speed on the rollerblading will definitely have an advantage there, so that's quite interesting. Then we sort of get into the final stage of the race, but it's still quite long, and there's a 15 kilometer trek down through here. And now I've just got to get rid of my whiteboard marker again, and so I can move the map, because teams then get into the last big mountain bike section, which is 90 kilometers again, and from there they travel. Now I hope I'm making this clearer for you all, but so they go from there and then they head up this way and then back down into here and back into our finish line again. So that is the last of the big mountain bike sections, and then they still have one final trek, which is 25 kilometers long, and I'll zoom in so we can just see this last section a little bit closer. And from there, right, so this is our start finish area where they're coming in and out. So they come back into the section, and so they'll be coming down this way back into the finish section, and then I hope I got this right, they come back down this way on the last 25k trek. Now there's actually a climbing section in here, there's an abseil and ascend and descend section, so a bit of a rope section in this last part as well, and this is where they finally come down and we'll finish right in here. So that's the course. It's a little bit crisscrossy and could be a little bit confusing, but I think as the race goes along I'll explain it all to you and it will become very clear and quite simple, and I hope you enjoy the race. So until this evening, I shall see you later. Bye.